What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over how to put line on a reel. This one just happens to be a bait caster, but it's pretty much the same for beginners. This is everything that you need to know to how to get the line onto the reel. I know a lot of people, COVID time, have been getting into fishing. Some people probably don't know how to put line on their reels, especially if you get one of those things from Walmart and you realize that line's not the best. Time to switch it up. So I'm just going to go over a couple of tips and tricks on how you can make this go a lot easier. All right, so first thing, you get your reel, and then it's got to have no line on it. So either it comes with no line on it, or you're just going to have to take that line off that's already on there. So you got that. Got your line, the line you're going to be putting on there. And now I have this tool, which makes things so much easier. I actually put a link in the description of me doing a review on that. This is just a Piscifun line winder. It makes things so much easier. But basically, if you don't have one of these, a lot of people don't, that's fine. All you really need to do is get something like a screwdriver, a long screwdriver that you put into a drill or something. Just something that you can get into that hole, and then you're just gonna need something that can keep tension on here. So maybe rubber bands, put some styrofoam in there just so it's not free spooling, or else the line's going to come off faster than you're reeling it, which is going to cause a little bit of an issue. That's why I use this, because it puts tension on there and it makes things so much easier. So if you're interested in this, check that out. I'll put a link down in the description below so you guys can check that out too. So with this, I'm just going to be putting the line on with here because it makes things so much easier. So what we're going to do first thing is just going to take the reel and I'm going to put it on right here. It's just basically like a fishing pole. It goes on like that, and then you screw it in. So now we have that. All right, now that I got you a little bit closer, all we're going to do is take this line, and there's going to be a little sticker on the top there. Line is all, again, personal preference. This is just what I happen to choose for this reel. It doesn't matter whichever one you want to choose. Putting it on is all pretty much the same. So all we're going to do is take this sticker off right here. Sometimes there's a little indent here where you can put the line, but hopefully the sticker will do. Sometimes they like to become unsticky and you have to find something else, but for right now, that's what is going to work, that sticker. So we have the reel here, and we got this device here. All I'm going to do is put this line in this device so that the line comes down this way. I don't want the line coming in. I don't know if you can see that line like that. I don't want the line coming in over top because then it winds up putting pressure on the top of that and it doesn't wind up spooling as easy. So all I'm going to do is take this line, put it in this little contraption here. So these two balls go on either side in that, and then you just tighten it up like that. And you can see that the line is coming from the bottom. So we're going to go pretty much straight in. So now all we're going to do is take the line from the end and stick it in this hole right here, right? So that's the guide that puts the line on the reel evenly. So what we're going to do is stick it through there, just like that. Get a little piece of line on there. Now you can do one of two things. On this particular reel, you can see that there's little tiny holes right here. I like to put it through there and make sure that the line is not through there too much so it doesn't go to the other side, and then start reeling slowly. You can put it on here and put a little piece of tape on there just so that it doesn't create a bump. What you want to do is you want to make it so that there's no bump on this reel. Because if you wind up tying a knot, which some of these reels have little things here, you can almost see those little lines. That is for if you wind up tying a knot so the line goes in there and doesn't create a bump. You don't want to create a bump on here, because what's going to do is that's going to make the line go on the reel unevenly, and it's going to wind up causing you to bird's nest later on. That's why people don't like to use the bait casters, because it's a huge issue is the bird nesting. But this will help you prevent that if you wind up not getting a big bump in there. So all I'm going to do is stick it through one of these little tiny holes. See if I can show you guys that. I'm just going to stick it into one of these little holes here. And now I have the line not so tight, a little bit of here, so that when I start reeling, it'll be able to catch. So then I'm just going to turn it just a couple of times, and you can see that it's obviously not tight. That's okay. So I'm just going to turn it just a couple of times so that it gets some traction going around, and then I'm just going to pull it. We just want to do that so that this line, remember, goes in through that little loop there, nice and tight on the spool. You want to make sure that that spool is nice and tight, because the looser it is, the more problems you're going to have. And now in order to make that a little bit tighter, we're just going to take this thing here, which is the drag, and we're going to take that and tighten it down as hard as we possibly can, because we want the drag as nice and tight so that that spool doesn't wind up coming back on us. So even sometimes you want to just pull that line down. Make sure this drag is nice and tight. Pull that line down so that when we reel it in, it's as tight as it possibly can be. And then that's going to make for that nice tight spool. So that's how we got that set up. So now all I'm going to do is reel this in. And just keep reeling. I want to keep filling up until that line is on there. And then you can see on here, you see how the spool was gold, and then there's a little bit of black there. That's all that you want. So you just have that little bit of black there, because you want as much line on here as possible, because these bait casters work better with the more line that there is on them. But obviously when you're changing baits and stuff, you're going to be taking line off, cutting the line, putting new baits on and stuff. But you want to make sure that there's enough line on here so that it works. All right, everybody, that's been putting a line on the reel. Hopefully, some of those tips helped you out and helps you put a little bit more line on all those reels, because line is actually really important. You get the cheap stuff, it doesn't actually work as well as you get the good stuff. Obviously, the fish are going to wind up seeing it more, and it just lasts longer and performs better. This stuff is just trilene. It's not the best fishing stuff in the world, but it's better than stuff that comes on the Shakespeare reels and stuff like that. That's just kind of garbage. So hopefully this video was a little bit helpful. If it was, make sure you hit the like button, and thanks for stopping by. See you guys next time.